Welcome to the Growing Your Business podcast. This is the show that dives into the big question, what's in it for me, for both the business and its customers? On each episode, we sit down with a business owner or leader to uncover their why, their values, and the stories that drive them to grow their business. So joining me today on the Growing Your Business podcast is Ashley Furr with Haberman Company. How you doing, Ashley?
Good. How are you?
Great to see you.
You too.
So tell me about your business. What do you do over there?
Oh gosh, so I am the vice president of operations for the Haberman Company. My role essentially is just making sure that all of our jobs are essentially on track. Our business is growing the way it needs to. Making sure we're hitting our numbers for the year, and obviously all of our clients are happy. We're producing the things that we said that we were going to do, and essentially just continuing to grow the business. I've had a lot of relationship growth, throughout the years and over the course of past careers. So it's important for me in an operations role to still be present within the business and focus on growing the business and allowing, everybody to feel welcome and, just be that point of contact throughout the entire process, essentially. So I wouldn't say I'm the face of the company, but I feel very forward facing, obviously.
It sounds like you do the most important job of the company.
The most important.
I mean, really, it's basically she runs the show.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. Yeah, that's
just
wonderful.
Don't tell my boss. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but she does. We don't. Cool. How long have y'all been around? Just the company itself.
Yeah, so we actually relaunched the company in January of 2025. So this year, essentially, yeah, we shifted kind of the goals that we wanted. Him and I both were in real estate, so he was running big mortgage groups at the time, national companies, and then kind of just wanted to focus on different streams of business, different industries. So we kind of partnered together and kind of collaborated on that, essentially.
That's great. Who's your ideal customer?
Ideal customers. Really, we have a vast variety.
Walk me through the different types of customers.
So I never say just one. Marketing is obviously all-encompassing for us. So anybody can be our ideal client, but what we mainly focus on is companies that have been in business for at least a couple of years, have decent revenue stream coming in, and are understanding what it takes to hire on an agency. A lot of companies, marketing is kind of the last budget that they put in place, or it's the first to go. So having established companies that know that they need to grow their business and can allocate, funds of some sort into a marketing budget. So we focus on that, but we have national companies. We have mom and pop small businesses. We have startup businesses that are, we know we need to do marketing, but, help us get there. So we do have a vast variety of industries in our pocket, which has been really nice because it's great case studies for people that are coming on. Have you worked with this company? Have you worked with this industry? And it's nice to be able to say, yes, we have, and here's what that looks like. So,
and it sounds like the ideal customer is someone who's leveled up enough to know that marketing is actually a necessity.
Absolutely.
The other, it's so easy to ignore that budget, ignore that, and say, oh, we'll just grow our network organically or whatnot. But there are so many tools available to them from a marketing agency.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about the tools, the way you get their message out to their customers.
So a lot of the ways, we're big on paid media. We're big on Google ads and really advertising just a good creative with good copy that goes out. Fortunately, Andrew, who is the owner of the company, he was big in copywriting, so he knows how to project that message onto, a specific audience, specific clientele. So it's important for us, for that client to understand, we know how things work. We've seen businesses do very well. We've seen businesses not do well in marketing. We've seen businesses come to us from other marketing agencies that weren't quite understanding their need. And so it's important for us to understand the need that they're trying to get out. Are you trying to grow revenue? Are you trying to just grow, a few clients at a time? Are you just trying to explode right out of the gate and get as many people as one time? So it's really how we have those conversations in the initial meeting stages with them, so we kind of understand exactly what their need is and how we can help that need. So it's different from client to client, but we kind of approach it as more of a consulting and operations side first, because we need to understand how their business operates. We don't need to get in the nitty-gritty and all your finances, but I want to know how you're operating on a day-to-day basis, because then that helps me understand, are they in a position to be able to hire a firm or not? And if they aren't quite, but are, then we can work with them and figure out what's the best, course of action from that point. So,
and I think you'll agree with me, it's super important to just have a human conversation at the beginning, because it's
Yes.
almost therapeutic for each other to
Yes.
understand each other on a human basis,
hmm
because then you can really deep dive into their business and what do they really need,
Yep.
and asking a lot of the great questions, I'm sure, is part of your intake and discovery or
hmm
whatever you call it, because you have to understand their whole business, where they've been, their goals,
Right.
and really their ideal customer
Yeah.
to help them get there. Tell me about, speaking of ideal customers, I know you helped a lot of customers. Companies grow their brand online and everywhere else. Tell me a couple stories, like a success story, somebody who maybe came in and didn't understand marketing.
Sure.
I know you have a bunch ready to
So
go.
oddly enough, it was kind of a full circle moment. It was a family friends of ours that I had actually helped open a smoothie store for them forever ago. And I literally ground up with them, built out this business, and they ended up coming on as clients because they were selling a health and wellness product. And it was a family recipe that helped solve health problems for herself that they were able to put out on the market. And so with this client, it was neat because we knew their end goal was to get bought out by a larger corporation. And essentially we, helped do the marketing for that. And then conversations started happening of, hey, we're actually getting put into meetings with some larger corporations to kind of help us get out there into like the big box stores. So we were able to help do that, which was neat because it was a very short time window. We thought it was going to take a little bit longer, but it ended up being relatively quick after we had them on for a few months. And that was nice, very wholesome moment because I've known them my whole life essentially. So I've got to see them in different stages. So that was a really, really great kind of case study for us. Another one is we have worked with a lot of real estate clients and budgets aren't necessarily big with them because the market is just so volatile all the time. But we do a lot of event promotion. And so getting to watch events start from just the idea to putting in the marketing, flying out, hosting day of, all of the comm sounds, which you understand, all the mic sounds, is everything in check, our presentations in line, and getting to watch an event essentially just be sold out and you got to be part of that is just really a beautiful feeling. So it just makes you feel good about what you're doing and that you're doing good work. So
That's great, because in terms of when someone says that they're a marketing company, everyone, business owners, and have a different vision of what that means.
yeah,
And from the two examples you just gave me, is like you can help a company from nothing or origins to whatnot, and of course events. I mean, everything. When you need an audience, you need people to be there, either to come to your store or come to your event, whatnot.
yep,
Marketing plays a huge role in that. I mean,
yes,
because you don't know what is it? You miss 100 target, not that
yeah.
you don't fire at or something.
Yeah,
I've messed that
90%
up.
of the shots you don't take or something like
Thank you
that.
so
Yeah.
much for fixing that. Yeah. So you're without a good marketing team, you're not taking any of those shots. There are
Right.
no targets hit.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Stay with us. The Growing Your Business podcast will return right after this.
Ready to amplify your brand's voice? At Blue Mike Studios, we transform your ideas into captivating podcasts and videos. Whether you're launching your own show or guest starring on ours, we've got you covered. From recording and editing to social media promotion. With state-of-the-art 4K video and crystal clear audio, your content will shine. We offer guest packages on our podcasts and offer segments from the show for you to share. Or let us help you build your own branded podcast with custom strategy, branding, and full production support. Visit BlueMikeStudios.com today and let your voice be heard.
Please check our show notes for sponsorship links and additional details. Now, back to the Growing Your Business podcast with Buddy Broyles.
What's the best way to reach you?
Best way to reach us is either through social media or just going to our website and, doing the contact us form. Our information's on there. They can send us an email if they're trying to acquire about, either just to sit down, want to chat, or, just looking into an audit really.
Great.
So, yeah.
And all that'll be in the show notes. So just if you're watching or listening, just scroll down whatever platform you're listening or watching, and it's all there. Everything Ashley gave me is there. What's your favorite part about your job? Like what like gets you in the morning? You're like, I get to do this today, and it's
Yes.
may not be something you do every day.
I would say my favorite part of my job is just watching our companies and clients evolve. I shouldn't say our companies, watching our clients evolve and really learn on their own. They may not be a client forever, but we're trying to provide the tools that they need to be able to excel on their own or excel with us, in the future to be bigger. And that's what I love the most. It's important to me that not everything is the same. And I say this a lot in like one-to-ones and conversations is we live in a very saturated market. So many marketing agencies, so many people podcasting, so many trades, and it's just how to be different and just really helping people find their brand and find their why and then take off with that. I absolutely enjoy. And I really just love the relationship aspect of it. Like, tell me your life. I want to know your family and how you got here, and like, let's just do well together. So that's important to me.
What advice would you give someone? So say, I am, but say I'm an entrepreneur and a lot of us hold our entire business this close, and I'm basically hugging my chest. How do I get out of my own way when it comes to that? I mean, it's to release that, to learn to trust you and all of those things.
So the best piece of advice on that is, because we have these conversations often, it might be multiple conversations. And, everybody isn't necessarily quick to make a sale, but at the end of the day, they came to you with a problem. You're trying to provide them the solution, or we wouldn't even be having the conversation. But best advice in that is, that's why I like to just kind of deep dive. Everybody has a pain point that they're trying to solve, and it's just finding out why. And sometimes it's simple as like, I'm dealing a lot in my personal life and I just need to let go, but I don't want to because I'm scared. Or it's somebody that's worked with somebody that's just burned them so bad in the past that they're having a very hard time letting go. It's your business. In one bad ordeal can really either make or break it, especially these days with how big social media is. And it's learning to combat that and learning to have the right conversation. So with us, I just want to sit and talk. And we may not even talk about marketing that day. We may just talk about why you're in this position, what's holding you back. And then conversations continue to happen. And it might be the next day, next week, a year from now. But essentially, like, we're all human and life, just things happen, and there might be a reason that you're just holding it so tight to your chest. And I just want to get to the root cause of everything and just learn and figure out how we can piece things together. And it may not even be with us. It may be with somebody else. Like, happy to refer out, if we're just not the right fit. But essentially, somebody has a problem that needs to be solved. And a lot of it's just risk. You're an entrepreneur. You already risked just starting, just literally going. Just getting going. So why not take the next step,
That's great. And if I was concerned about, let's say a lot of different businesses are concerned about, and you and I are in a group that we talked about it today, actually, the advances of AI are certainly affecting the marketing business.
Yes.
How are you staying ahead as a firm of all the different things that are coming at you at lightning speed?
Yeah. We never bash AI by any means, because there are great resources out there for AI, ChatGPT. A lot of it's authenticity. And I know that everybody's quick to do it because it takes a lot of time off their hands. But when it comes to your business, do you want somebody else essentially taking the whole thing over? And that's kind of how I look at AI and like a robot sense. Things happen. ChatGPT is there as a resource, but not the end all be all. And that's what I like to express, especially to clients that are like, well, why don't y'all use AI? And AI is the next big thing. And it's great for certain things. However, authenticity is the key to your brand. You don't want somebody else just running your whole business, and you not really knowing what's going on. And I'll say this, an example of how AI could have potentially caused an issue. So we had a client and they had articles written for them, which we can do, but we weren't doing theirs. And ChatGPT was used and it ended up copying an article from another very large competitor within the area in the same industry and space onto their blog. And that's what was used. Well, the business owner had reached out. Fortunately for them, owner was very nice about it. Just said, hey, either give us credit or, hey, can you nicely remove? Not going to happen 90% of the time, especially with like very large corporations. So AI has a place. I don't think it is the replacer, I guess is the best way to say that. So we don't use it personally. We like authenticity.
Yeah,
that's
human.
Important. Yeah,
yeah,
we're human.
It's the right tool for the right job types of thing.
Absolutely.
So you have to pick the tool if it benefits your business. If it doesn't, then don't
Correct.
use it.
Yeah. I will say the presentation today was very eye-opening though, because it is neat to know what it can do for you, because a lot of it does make sense, especially for like the automation and email side of it. Totally for that. Still write your own copy though.
Write your own copy. That's great advice. Well, gosh, Ashley, thank you for coming on the show today and sharing. Obviously you really enjoy what you do.
I do.
And I think it's really important for people that are tuning in that it all starts with a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, get to know you. So I encourage y'all to reach out to Ashley and get to know her and talk further. But thanks again for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us today on the Growing Your Business podcast. Please see the show notes for links to our sponsors, our social media, and to learn more about today's guest.